Hello, women of the Channel Leadership Network. I'm Jackie Rives, your community leader, and welcome to another Woman of the Week. Joining me today is Rhonda Olson, Director, Channel Marketing, MSSP, GCI, SP, and Nationals with Fortinet. Welcome, Rhonda. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Jackie. Nice to see you.
Yes, well, I'm so excited to get to know you a little bit better. We've been kind of working together for a couple years now, so it's always a treat when I get to know people on a more personal level. So let's start off with those icebreakers. Where do you live and where did you grow up, if that's different?
And thank you so much for inviting me to do this. This is fantastic. I live in Colorado, just outside of Denver. I'm a native of Colorado. Do quite a bit of hiking in the mountains in the summertime. And probably one of my most accomplished ones is hiking a Fortiner in Colorado, which was Long's Peak. And
Oh,
it took
wow.
15 hours to hike it. We started at 2:00 in the morning and it was in August, and it was crazy because of course here in Colorado, you can still have snow on the peaks up there. And so you were having to dig your feet in to just even get footing. So it was interesting. There were several people that turned around and somehow we kept going and we made it to the summit. So by far one of my most accomplished things on a personal level that I've done. So yeah.
I love that fact you shared. I actually just last year learned what a 14er was from my daughter. And I am a huge fan of Colorado. We did like a drive tour all over Colorado after she graduated high school. So beautiful, beautiful state. Love that. All right. So let's switch to professional and tell me a little bit about your career path and how you reached this wonderful position that you're in today.
Yeah. So I started back at Quest Communications when it was just quite small. I think we were 600 people when I first started there. And so kind of in the late 90s. So kind of tells a little bit about my age a little bit, but it's been a fantastic ride. We were a small company that was just gobbling up the big guys. I started quite young and was an admin that moved into trade shows. And later on into that, ironically, I went over to a security company. It was kind of in that dot bomb era that we all went through. And it was a nice little security company, but it didn't last too long. But I did marketing over there as well on a small team of 3. And then I ended up moving over to Verizon, the old MCI as well, and worked in various places there to kind of really kind of shape where I wanted to go. So I started in corporate communications. I was put into a writing position for a short period of time as well, and then did a lot of digital campaigns. And from there, I was always on that corporate side, thinking I would stay on that corporate side. And then when I went over to Cisco was the first time I got into the partner side of the house, which was interesting. It's exciting to work with partners simply because you can be working with somebody, and if something changes on their side, things definitely change on your side, and you have to kind of shift and move quickly to make those changes. So partners have been a lot of fun to work with. So from Cisco, I was there for about 8 years before moving over here to Fortinet and working with partners here and evolving this side of the house. So it's been a really fun ride.
I always love learning people's career paths because most times it proves that it's just full of different experiences that just set you up for success in the one that you are in currently and seem to enjoy very much. Thank you for sharing those with
Oh,
us.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, with all that experience, have you ever been in a role that you didn't like? And if so, how did you kind of navigate through that?
Yeah, I think there's so many different personalities that you meet throughout your life. And that's what I say. I've got a couple daughters and, tell them, you're going to meet a lot of different people and you're just going to have to learn to adapt. And, definitely there was some managers throughout the early years that I had to adapt to, but there was so much that I learned from them as well. So not only what did you learn how to manage that type of person and maybe try to stay ahead of that person of the asks that they may have in that type. So that made life a little bit easier, definitely trying to stay ahead of them. But just to really, accepting the things that you could learn from them, I think made that more of value in that position for me. So, I told you I was in a writing position, and it was one of those reorgs, and they put me in a writing position. And at the time I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't personally see myself in a writing position, but apparently other people did at that time. And it was extremely valuable. And then this person that I had worked for at the time, he just allowed me to probably sharpen my skills even more and be able to kind of get more precise and to the point a lot faster. So I do see value in working for the more challenging people sometimes, because there's so much that you can learn and expand kind of what you're doing and how you approach things.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I love that you are passing your lessons on to your daughters. That really stuck out to me just because I have two older daughters who are adulting now in
Yeah.
life as well. And so it's nice when you can kind of share those life lessons
Mhm.
and kind of prepare them, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
So, how do you differentiate yourself?
I'd say, I really try to listen to people. I really try to, and see that, I always try to put myself in somebody else's shoes anytime I'm doing anything. Like, okay, I always see the other side of the house. And I think that's what kind of helps differentiate me a little bit more, is I'm always seeing, I'm never trying to, I do try to be that devil's advocate in a very kind way. Like, let's make
Mm-hmm.
sure we're seeing the other side of the house. So, I think some people will I've had other people tell me I have this calming effect, which I was telling you as we were about to get onto this call, you do as well. So, just having that calming effect with people and having that ability to just have empathy across the board and really think of kind of other people first. And anytime that you're doing anything.
Yeah, I love that you brought up listening because that is a skill that um, I don't want to say it's lacking, but it's a challenge, right?
Mhm.
In a fast paced world of people trying to, knock things out, get to the next task, the next thing, the next thing. And sometimes, you need that person in the room who's like making very, the word I'm looking for, very specifically listening or getting the group to kind of pause and listen and take it in and not think of the response, but rather just openly hearing what they're having to say. And I love that you also try to put yourself in other people's shoes. That is a great quality. One of my favorite qualities of a leader, for sure.
It's interesting because it is a fast paced world. So you do find that there's times that you're trying to insert yourself in the conversation, especially when you're on call. So can get challenging at times because everybody's talking all at once and you're like, okay, how do I insert myself? So
Mm-hmm.
there was that inserting and then apologizing for cutting people off. But yes.
Awesome. Well, speaking of effective leaders and great qualities of leaders, what characteristics, well, additional characteristics do you possess that make you an effective leader?
Definitely, I think that, just listening to people. I'm a huge problem solver. I have
Ooh.
told like going, just finding that avenue to yes. I've had several managers like, hey, sometimes you got to take the no. And I'm sure somebody will laugh when I say that, but taking the no isn't always what I like to do. So I think there's other avenues. And going back to advice for my daughters, is I do always tell them, find the avenue to yes. I think there's always an avenue to yes. I do think that I try to problem solve and help people. So when somebody gets in a tight or just wants to brainstorm on other ideas, I love brainstorming with people. I love taking the time to sit down with people on my team and across teams and just kind of figure out what are the most logical steps forward and the most efficient steps forward. So that's kind of where I try to hopefully I excel as a leader is trying to help those types of things and trying to knock down any kind of barricades that are in front of people. And think of just outside the box. Have you thought of this versus this? Those types of things. I hope that I'm viewed as a leader from that perspective.
Oh, I love that. And I am sure that people do. I mean, just a little bit of time and what I've learned from you already, I do see those amazing qualities in you. We are at the 10-minute mark. Do you want to give any quick insights or tips or advice on how you continue to grow and develop as a leader?
I think again, I go back heavily into listening. Just absorbing everybody, other people's thoughts. That's you can gain so much from other
Mm.
people, just taking little bits of what other people do. I think when a long time ago, one other person were like, when you're building a team, well, before I ever had a team, what are the things that you should look for in a team? Like look for somebody that doesn't have your expertise. So you fill those little gaps. So just those little nuggets of things that I listen to from other people. I do enjoy listening how other people excel and succeed. And I think you guys have got some great programs out there for people to take a look at. And, and I've been on some of your calls that I think it's the Peach Group that it's been fantastic to hear how other people and what they do. And so just being open-minded to listening to others and taking kind of their advice as well.
Rhonda, it was an absolute joy getting to know you. Thank you so much for accepting the interview and allowing us to celebrate you as our Woman of the Week.
Well, Jackie, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. All right, community members, please give Rhonda your feedback, your insights, high fives. Let's celebrate her this week. And as always, continue the conversation to learn from one another. So have an amazing week.